Good morning, welcome to Ag Talking Raw, where we talk raw about agriculture and other things that are on my mind, not yours. Anyway, so here we go. I am just going to go ahead and switch my account over so I can read some of the questions and get back to you. I just had my breakfast, so, you know, I'm pretty happy. And it says that I have a 500 internal server error through, So they says a team of highly trained monkeys has been dispatched to deal with this situation. If you see them, send them this information as text, screenshots, to frighten them. Screenshots frighten them, that's what it said. So let's go ahead and redo that because you know what? I don't believe they have any highly trained monkeys. So yeah, anyhow, that's now that I've gotten that far and I'm babbling on about nothing. You know what it's doing outside? I can tell you what it's doing outside. It's pissing rain. Just pissing rain. Getting sick and tired of this piss and rain situation, but it is what it is, right? It is what it is. So I guess the last time I did one of these was 10 days ago. Wow, am I slacking or what? It said it was for May 9th, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, let's say we go ahead and take a look at this, and we'll get there. So, if you're not finished planting corn, you are going to have one hell of a time to plant corn. Most guys back in the day, they were the Memorial Day or bust kind of guys.
Yeah, good morning. Well,
ooh, that's it. So that was, and you know what? I'm wearing the exact same shirt as I was 10 days ago. Well, you know, it's been through the laundry and whatever. I enjoy this shirt. This is an awesome shirt, by the way. I do the sleeve logo. I've done them down here, or Teresa's done them down there. Then these are really good shirts. Very expensive. That's why they're not on the website. So anyway, I guess I could. There's 42 comments here. And I don't even remember what last week's or last 10 days ago's theme was. We'll do the newest first. Okay, fired. Nice touch on the raw. You guys have had a great ride with the defamation. With this defamation. I wonder what the fuck that is. I like it. So funny. I almost forgot to fire you. Let's see how many other people I gotta fire. I can fire hundreds of people, no problem. Well, you can fire me. I don't care. Yeah, so I don't even remember what that was about. But thank you, everybody, for telling me that the How Farms Works crew plants with their corn planter. I should have known that, and now watching their videos, I see that they are planting their soybeans with the corn planter. We never had white mold problems here in New Jersey that I know of. I have planted on 7-inch rows. That's what I usually did, or 7.5-inch rows with the no-till drill, and even with my 8300, those were 7-inch spacings. So, you know, and I have also blocked them out. But my problem with blocking out every other row, or hoe, as what we always called them, you know, because that's what they were. They were hoes. They called them a hoe because they used to be a single disc opener that would just throw the dirt to the side, and then the controlled spill would spill beans into the top, and then the dirt was supposed to fall back over top of it because there were no closing wheels on those old Von Brunt drills, or Ontario drills, if you remember those. We had an Ontario years and years and years ago before we got the 8300 John Deere. 8200 John Deere. I bought an 8300, then I bought the 750. But anyway, yes, I have blocked that, but the problem with that I have seen with the wider rows was that a deer is only this wide, so you have 15-inch rows or so, 15-inch rows. The deer could walk right down those rows. And deer are lazy. Inherently, they are the laziest sons of bitches this side of the Mississippi River. They are just lazy. And if you make it difficult for them to get down those rows, they won't go so deep into the field. And towards the end of my soybean production, I would actually go around the field twice, double plant the outside rounds to give them a more difficult time to get into the field, because they don't like dragging their feet. That's why when you shoot at a deer in a soybean field, they leap really, really high, because it messes with their feet and they don't like it. So here on the East Coast, where we have so many deer, we can't plant with those wide 30-inch rows or 28-inch rows or whatever they're planting, 32, 38, 30s. I don't know how many inch rows they're planting. So anyway, yeah, here's a guy, Charles Wenditz. Do you have any advice for someone your age with limited visibility who is looking to get into some ag work in Pennsylvania? limited visibility, meaning your eyes are bad or you're legally blind, because I don't think that's a good combination. I'm sorry. This is just my opinion, and I'm not saying that you. I swear to God, I'm wearing the exact same thing I was wearing 10 days ago. Anyway, to the limited sight thing, you have to be able to see what you're doing. I mean, really, honestly, especially with some of these, from making hay to even sticking your hands in things that are rotating. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe into poultry houses. Poultry houses, they're pretty well computer operated, but even then, you got to know what the heck, knowing and seeing. I'm sorry, Charles, I don't think you're going to have a good time with that. I don't know. I can't put you in a tractor. I can't. And knowing that your sight is not as good as what it should be, I guess. I'm not in Pennsylvania. I'm in New Jersey, so that wouldn't apply to me. But Anyways, Joe Bendlack. Wes would love to know your thoughts on growing sweet corn, variety, seed spacing, fertilizer, etc. Thanks for the video. Keep up the good work. My thoughts on growing sweet corn, grow it. I've grown it in the past. I would have sweet corn in the ground right now if it hadn't been raining for the last 2 weeks. It seems like 2 weeks anyway. It's pouring rain right now, and I'm not even done putting fertilizer on my hay fields, my grass fields. I was talking to Dad this morning, and he's like, well, it's grass. Just throw it on later, and don't worry about it until August. It'll have probably about the same amount of growth to it, tonnage to it by then anyway. And he is correct, so that's what I'm going to do. Wes, do you know Dave Hanna from the Reddington area? Dave Hanna. No. I know a Greg Hanna. Greg Hanna I went to school with. Art Hanna was his grandfather. And Dave, they may have moved that area. Art Hanna was the auctioneer here. So, there you go. Yeah. Let's see. We used a grain drill and plugged every other hole to have grain drills are 7-inch spacing, 7.5 inch spacing, so you're going to be at 14 inches or 15 inches at that point. That actually worked really well for us, 7-inch spacings. What is my goal for tonnage this year? Well, with this cool, wet weather, I think it's going to be higher than normal. Just for that reason, because this is cool season grasses. It likes to be damp and cold. Cool, not cold, but cool. And Tim's YouTube channel is Tim Pandy at YouTube. This may be a touchy subject, but does your ex-wife live in the same vicinity as you do? Yes, she does. She doesn't live too far away from me, to be quite honest with you. Yep. Okay, Fat Guy No More. 15 loads of 32%. You need storage for at least 4 semi-loads on the farm. Soybean go in the corn planter, 15-inch rows. Can't afford the seed cost when the planter is a drill. Well, actually, the seed going into the ground should be the same, whether it's a 30-inch row, a 15-inch row, or a 7.5, 7-inch spaced row. They're all the same. It's relevant. Yes. Yep. Split row planters. We use 30-inch rows or split row planters. Yeah, I could go with a split row before I go with a single 30. Those split row 20 inchers, I guess, is what they use. Yep. Anyway, yes. Yep. Okay. Timmy Cornpicker. This is my neighbor and friend over here, not too far away. The first 20 acres of soybeans I ever planted, I did with an Oliver Superior number 26 wooden box steel wheel drill. I think I remember that thing. I had to block every other hole to get the right rate. Couldn't slow the shaft down enough for 7-inch rows. Too bad YouTube wasn't around in those days. Well, yes, I had the old, I think it was an 8100. It wasn't an 8200. When I was a kid, we're talking 1977, 78. My grandfather had bought a brand new John Deere grain drill, and there wasn't room. We didn't have even the shop space or the shed space to put this equipment in, and the thing sat outside. It was really a shame, but it rusted to the point where we couldn't adjust the rate on that 8100 drill. And my father had used a seed treatment that was very, very corrosive, and it ate the bottom end out of that thing, and we couldn't adjust the rate, so we were blocking off every other row, and I believe that was a 7-inch spacing, so we were planting soybeans in 14-inch spacings, and that was just before the deer really got bad. So yeah, I remember those days. The Ontario drill, that was abandoned over in a field along Route 12. That was there for many years. It was a single hoe, single disc openers. They were ridiculous. Yeah, they didn't work too good in clay soil, from what I understand. I never used it. The switch meters in the corn planter 30-inch rows. I actually have those seed meters for soybeans for the 4-row. Just glad you got a tax return. I had to pay again. Oh, I'll have to pay. Trust me. Yes, no, not a live thing. I'm doing my Ag Talking Raw. Why, you coming up here naked again?
Yeah.
Well, you tell me. Oh, man.
Come on. Come on.
Well, get moving. You can walk. I'll phase it out as soon as you get like within view.
Ready?
Come on, move your ass. Go. Go. Pokey pants. Naked on the run. She's a band on the run. Or is it the band with the runs? So anyway, I hear it's pouring again outside. I have a tin roof on my house, so I know when it's raining, believe it or not. Kind of did that on purpose. I like to hear rain on the roof. Not too heavily, but I like to hear rain on the roof. Anyway, that's just me. I'm deaf, so yeah. Now, what else was I going to talk about? Oh, anybody that hasn't gotten their corn and soybeans in now, it's going in this area. It's going to be a couple of weeks before you get out into this, and you're going to need pontoons on your tractor and corn planter. It's cold, as I'm going to go put a sweatshirt on before I go to work and or get to the farm, and you know that's just the normal thing. Put a sweatshirt on and go do what I would normally do. It is now the 19th of May, which it should be, the days should be at least in the 70s. Yesterday, I was cold all damn day. Teresa came to the farm, and she was like, you know what, I'm going home. It's too cold. So, she wasn't going to deal with that. And, so good luck to anybody out there that hasn't gotten their work done. The hay season is not going to be starting until, I would have to say, at least the first week of June. For most people. For me, I'm going to wait until the 2nd. As silly as that may sound. I've got plenty of old hay, or last year's hay, to go to the mushroom barns. So that's not really going to be too big of an issue until August. We'll be bringing old hay in there until August. I do have some hay that's going to need to be rebaled. I did get a question on on my other channel, One Lonely Farmer. They were asking if if I've ever rebaled hay. Well, yes, I have. But the shit spreader or manure spreader that I currently have will not handle the big square bales. I have to get a single beater rear discharge bale tearer aparter, and you have to make sure that the strings are completely out of it, because if you don't, it's going to wrap around that beater. So it's kind of going to be a mess. The neighbor, my neighbor up here, he's got a twin vertical beater manure spreader. You could probably put 6 or 7 or 8 bales in, just spread them out. But I'm not going to do that. That's a hydro push, and I just don't think that I need something that big to do this with. I'm hoping I don't have that many. But what you got to do is you got to wait until it's like 90 degrees out. Then you put them in a bale in the manure spreader, and you spread them out. Get them all spread out all over the field. You got to cut the hay off of the field that you're going to be doing this procedure in. Then you go over it with a tedder, and it takes about a day to get it dried out again. And then you just rake it up and bale it, and it's old hay in a brand new bale. And the mushroom barns will take it that way. So because I'm going to have hay until August, I will still be able to produce, take these bales that are just totally saturated and partially rotten, and I'll just be able to rebale them, and you'll never even know that they're rebaled bales on the load. Of course, there's not going to be as much material there as what there was the first go around, because the decaying process has taken away from that, that part. So it's decayed, and there's less, probably by a third. But it's better than throwing it away. I don't want to use it for fertilizer, because that's just silly. I need to get out what I've got into it. Now, anything that is rotten, like dust rotten, after you go over it with the tedder, that will knock it to the ground. That will become a fertilizer substance or organic matter that the new, the grass seed can grow off of. But yes, for certain, I will be rebaling old bales. That's what I have to do. It's kind of sucks and it's time consuming, but I do have some help. I got my nephew Grant and my son Joseph is going to be working on the farm, so that can be their job to load, cut strings, and spread these bales out over this field. And there's an 8-acre field over there that I could probably fill up in a day and with rotten or old bales and get it rebaled. And we're not talking 1,000 bales, we're talking maybe 100 bales. So it's really not that difficult, and it should work out pretty well. As far as I'm concerned, I think it'll work out pretty well. So I'll take 100 bales and probably get 50 or 60 bales back out of it, which is a couple of loads, which is going to be, several $1,000s, several $1,000s, and that'll be okay. They'll take it that way. They don't want mushy looking stuff. They just don't. I mean, if you load that very same hay up on the load and it looks like it's rotten and falling apart, they're going to reject me, and I don't want that. But if I rebale them and they're stiff and solid and they can stab into them and stack them and whatever, it doesn't matter what it looks like on the inside, and then you put 4 or 5 of those on a load along with the tarped hay that I have, and I have tarped hay. Along with that tarped hay, I'll funnel them in, and boom, they can go right on out, and just like nothing ever happened to them, and I'll get paid for them. So it will, yes, it's going to cost me some money to do it, but it's going to be done. So that's that. But anyways, I've been yakking for 16 minutes. I see most of the guys around here, getting back to the crop situation here, most of the guys in here they're probably 2/3 done. Some of them did get finished. The small guys that only had 100, 150, 200 acres to do, they were done pretty quickly. We had 2 weeks of fairly decent weather. I know a friend of mine up the road here, he's planting soybeans. I think he's going to get 1,500 acres of soybeans in the ground. He's got 300 in, and it's up and growing, but now he's kind of sitting there waiting. But he has 2 grain drills. He's got a Great Plains 30-footer, and I think he's got 2. He might have 3. He might be borrowing one from a neighbor or whatnot to get this in. And he's got a 15-foot John Deere 1560 no-till drill. And, between the 2 planters planting, you're looking at 45 feet every minute going into the ground. So he'll get his done. He's not planting corn. Anybody that hasn't gotten their corn in the ground now, they're going to be like puckering their ass waiting for the ground to dry out. But here in this part of the state, I always called it, well, I didn't always call it June ground, but it's June ground. If you plant corn early June, you're going to have a decent yield. When it gets to maybe June 10th, June 15th, you're reducing your yield depending on the variety you use. But soybeans, you can go right up to June 20th without any problems. Yes, it's not going to be as good of a yield as if you got it in on May 10th or May 15th or May 20th. But you know what? In the ground is in the ground. And if the moisture's there and the fertilizer is there, it'll take off, it'll grow, and it'll still produce a 45, 50 bushel yield if you don't have deer. 60 bushels if you don't have deer. If you got deer, it could be 20 bushels. Who the hell knows? But anyways, I'm done talking, so thanks for watching, and I look forward to doing this one again. And maybe next time I won't be wearing the exact same clothes. Actually, in the last 10 days ago, you can see that I had a V-neck or a tank top on, not this green OLF shirt. Thanks again. Bye.